Yeah, thank you for asking me to do this. Hopefully it's somehow useful for people. So, yes, I am Stefan Dimitrov. I am the chairman of the Bulgarian group of Anima International called Nevidimi Životni. And I will be your guide today. And why am I doing this? Am I the most qualified to do this? I am not, for sure. Disclaimer, most of the stuff in this presentation is actually from one of the people in GIG, Matej Fischer, who is a consultant about meta ads. However, he could not be here with us today, so I was asked to take over. But to be fully transparent, you decide if you want to believe me, if you think I know anything, or I'm just repeating what I saw from Matej. These are our numbers as the organization over the past few years. How many new leads we got per year, that's email addresses, people that we can contact. How many donors we got per year. And this year we expect to exceed the numbers for 2024 in terms of donors through our end-of-year fundraising campaign, which probably a lot of you already know about end-of-year fundraising campaigns. There was already a panel about that. So yeah, you decide if you want to believe me or not. Without further ado, if there's anything that you take back home from this presentation, I would say it's these three principles that you need to keep in mind. The first one is that you have to spend money to make money. Some people have this anxiety, at least in this, in our organization we had this. People thinking that they should be very careful about how we spend our money. We should really think how to reduce the costs and really try not to spend too much on fundraising, try not to use too much money, if we can cut corners somehow. This anxiety does not help. You have to embrace the fact that money is a tool, and like any other tool, you need to use it effectively. You need to think how you're using it, but you should not be afraid to use it. And with meta ads, this is not negotiable. You have to spend and be ready to spend a lot of money to get the results back, and treat it as an investment and as something that you will return on, and a lot more than you invest within time, within a year or whatever. The second principle that you need to remember from this presentation is to test and to track. Because if you're not doing this, you're not doing anything, and you cannot be serious about fundraising or meta ads or anything like that, or even lead generation, if you do not do these things, because otherwise you're flying blind. You don't know what is working, what is not working. You don't know how much you're paying to get how many donors or how many signatures. This is non-negotiable. You have to have the ability to track. Like the easiest ways are through the metapixel that I'll talk more about later, but this is really a very low-cost thing that you can do, and you have no excuse not to do. And then there are more difficult things that you should also find a way to do, but yeah, they require a bit more IT capacity, but you can reach out to other organizations or consultants or whatever. You need to take tracking and reporting and testing seriously if you want to achieve good results. And then the third principle is relating more about the content. The content obviously needs to be emotional. You need to think about what emotion you want to create in the audience. It has to be a strong photo. It could be storytelling. It could be whatever. Think about the emotion that you want to create and work towards that. And you also want urgency in the communication. That is part of the entire logic why end-of-year fundraising campaigns exist in the way they do. On the one hand, it's because it's the holiday season, people want to donate, but on the other hand, you can set a very clear deadline by the end of the year or 31st of December or however you do it. Deadlines make people do stuff. So use that. It could be a deadline. It could be, oh, we need only 10 more donors before we reach the goal. This stuff works. So use it. So in terms of the money, be ready to spend a lot. Like I said, it depends on the country, it depends on how experienced you are with ads, but especially if you're a new organization doing this for the first time, especially if you're in a country like Germany, which is very saturated with these types of ads, very saturated with non-profit organizations, it can cost a lot to get a monthly donor. With us, it's not this expensive. It doesn't cost 100 euros. It costs more around 40 euros through Meta Ads to get a regular donor. However, also the amount of the monthly donation is 8 euros with us. But still, that's like we invest 40 euros to get a regular donor, and within the next 10 months, we get 80 euros back. So worth it. And this is, by the way, the conservative estimate that you should use when you have monthly donors. Multiply the value of the donation by 10, and this is probably how much you can expect to get from each regular donor. So, you want to start doing Meta Ads. What do you need to do right now to prepare? You need to assign the people's roles clearly. You need, if you don't do this usually, this is a problem. It needs to be absolutely clear who is responsible for what, who is doing the design, who is doing the copy, who is setting up the meta campaign, who is going to follow the reporting, follow how the budget is going. All of these things, it needs to be absolutely clear who is doing what, because otherwise you have collective irresponsibility. And you need to have everyone aligned on the objective. Everyone needs to know what is the goal. The goal is monthly donors. The person who is writing the copy needs to know that. The person who is doing the design needs to know that. The person who is optimizing and setting up the meta campaign needs to know that. Everybody needs to be thinking about the objective with whatever they are doing. And again, setting the budget, being prepared to spend the money that you need to spend to see results. And with the budget, it's also good to keep in mind to not spend it all at the same time, like evenly per day. You need to be prepared to plan this so that towards the end of your fundraising campaign that you're doing, you increase the budget, because that is when everything becomes much more effective. Like the cost per donation can go down a lot in the final days because the deadline is coming. This is motivating people. 2 weeks remaining obviously is not the same as 2 days remaining. So keep that in mind and be ready to increase how much you spend within the final days before the deadline comes. So, about tracking, like I said, there's a lot of tech involved in it. The most basic thing, which is the metapixel, is quite easy to implement, and you should do it after this presentation for 15 minutes. I mean, you have no excuse not to have it if you don't have it already. It's just a small piece of code that you add to your website, and then you just copy-paste it. And then through Meta's website, you can open your website and you can use a visual editor. Just click, when this donate button is hit, then Meta please record a donate event. Or when this thank you page is visited, then Meta please record a donate event. And it's that simple, it's that easy. And you definitely need to have it. And if you have the technical capability, if you have IT people who can do it, you should also get the conversions API with that. I'm not going to go into it. Google it if you think you can do it. But it just increases the accuracy of metapixel by about 20%, which is what you want. The second thing that is important to have is UTM tracking. I would say think about metapixel as a tool not for you to know how many donations you're getting from your ads or how much it's costing, and to make decisions based on that. Metapixel's function is more to allow Meta to optimize its ads. Because when you set up your campaign to be for conversions, not for traffic, not for engagement, you don't want Meta to be showing your ad to the people who are most likely to like or the people who are most likely to click your link. You want Meta to be learning who are the people who will donate when they see your ad. And this is something that Meta can do if you feed it the information with Metapixel when these events come, when donation events happen through the ads. And that is what Metapixel is more for. But if you want to be tracking how much are we spending for these ads, how much are we getting back, how much does it cost for each donor, then you need UTM tracking. And the way that it works is to each link. Like, for example, this is the link of our donation page. If you want to donate, I will be grateful. this is our website, this is the donation page, and after this question mark is what is called as query parameters. And this is the magic. This is where the magic happens. UTM source equals to whatever you want to write here. This is completely up to you. And once, like this is the link for this is the donation link basically in the ad that people see. And when they click this, when they open the donation page, this thing here automatically gets pasted into an invisible field on the donation form. So you need a bit of IT for that. And then when the person hits donate, in the list of donations that you have, for each donation, you know what link did the donation come from, basically. So this is the most reliable and the best way to be tracking these things. And then, of course, you also need to have lists. You need to be tracking who are your single donors, who are your monthly donors, who are your lapsed monthly donors, who stopped donating for some reason or another, who are your petition signers. You need to be tracking these things and have these lists on demand so that you can use them for targeting. And for that, you need a CRM, which is a customer relationship management tool. It can be Salesforce, it can be DonorBox, it can be, we even used our email marketing platform, hacked it a bit to be able to use it like that in the beginning. If you're using Stripe for donation processing, you could also use that in the beginning because it gives you your list of single donors and monthly donors. So definitely have some way to track that or to have these lists. This is the reason why I made this distinction between tracking with Metapixel and tracking with UTM parameters. This is a real example from a real organization from the end of year fundraiser last year. So what happened is that they were running their Meta ads campaign. And according to Meta in the campaign, it said from this ad campaign, 173 people donated through your website. And you're thinking, great, amazing, this is very effective. One monthly donor cost me 50 cents or something. Crazy. I will tell everyone how amazing my ads are. No, actually, when you look into the UTM trackers, you see that actually only 38 people donated from explicitly clicking a link on your ad and donating in that moment. And the rest of them did not. So what is happening here? What is happening is the way that Meta's attribution model works. So the way that Meta decides if it should take credit for an event that happens on your website or not. Because when you install the Metapixel, Meta constantly receives notifications that, oh, this donate event happened, that donate event happened, and it needs to decide whether that was because of an ad campaign that you're running right now. The way it does that usually is if the user has seen this ad within the past 24 hours, but then clicks on your email and donates, Meta takes credit for that. And if the user has clicked on the link in the ad within the past week, and then they see your email and they click the link in your email and they donate because of your email, Meta still takes credit for that. So you need to keep this in mind, and you need to, that is why I said that the Metapixel, what it's good for is letting Meta learn what types of people donate and optimizing the campaign for that and targeting even better and better. But it is not good for you to decide if you're spending too much, if you're spending too little, if this is worth it depending on your other channels, or being able to make these data-driven decisions. Don't rely on the data that you get from Meta. So the next important thing is targeting. And the way you should think about targeting is that you have warm audiences, who are people that somehow have interacted with your organization, and you have cold audiences which have not seen or heard from you ever so far. And you could think of this as a circle where you are the center, where your organization is the center, and the people who are closest to the center are those who are closest to your organization. Obviously, that's, I mean, first off, it's you, it's your employees, it's your volunteers, it's maybe your relatives or whatever. Those are the people who are closest and most likely to help the organization, but then, you know, outside of that, you have your monthly donors. They're your most dedicated people. Then you have your single donors. Then you have a bit further away people who just signed some petition that you had. Then you have the people who are subscribed to your email. And then further away, you know, people who just engaged on your social media. Maybe they liked something a few weeks ago. And that is more or less where the warm audiences stop. And from then on, you have cold audiences, which are lookalike audiences. This is a function that Meta can do. Like, you could just give it a list of, you know, these are my single donors and monthly donors. Meta, please find the Facebook profiles of these people, stalk them, see what types of things they like, and then generate a list of 50,000 other people who like the same things, and probably they will also want to be donors. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. It's always good to try if you have the budget. And then interest-based audiences are even worse than that. Like, you could just say, you know, people who like animal welfare, people who like cats and dogs. Yeah, those work the least. So depending on your budget, you should definitely be targeting as far along this line as you can reach. But if you have a more limited budget, you focus on these people. If you have more of a budget, you know, include a broader audience, include people that have not seen your organization so far, test things, see how they work. Another aspect of targeting is exclusion, because this is also something you can do in your Meta campaigns. You can say, you know, exclude the people who have already donated. I don't want to annoy them. They donated 5 years ago for the organization. That's enough. Let's not pester them. They will donate if they want. No, that's not how you do it. Your single donors are the ones who are most likely to turn into monthly donors. And your monthly donors are very likely to, maybe, I don't know, someone made a monthly donation for 4 euros, 5 euros, 10 euros 1 year ago. Since then, they got a better job. They saw more stuff from your organization. They're more involved now. They want to increase their monthly donation. They randomly see your ad and they said, yeah, you know what? I'll make it a bigger monthly donation. I'll make it 20 euros, this time 30 euros. They do this. This is important. Do not exclude them. They want to help you. You are not annoying them. They are on your side. Now, in terms of the content that you want to be using when you're making ads, you should be testing. You should definitely be testing to find out what works. But usually, what seems to be working is, you know, like I said, emotion, urgency, social proof. It works to have a single image, a static image. That's usually easy. Videos are harder to nail, but static images are easy to use. You need one animal. It doesn't work so well when you have a group of animals. It's better if it's a close-up. It's better if you can see the animal's eye. It's better if the animal is looking straight at the camera. It's better if the photo somehow tells a story. If you can see from the context of where that animal is, what is happening to it, the user at a glance can find out what is happening to this animal. You can see that it's suffering, can see that, I don't know, it's in a cage, or experiments are being done on it, or whatever. It needs to tell a story, it needs to be emotional, it needs to be a visibly suffering animal. Usually that works good. It can be a clean photo, like with nothing on it, just the photo. That usually works, at least for us, because it doesn't look like a marketing campaign. It doesn't look like it has the good design and the logos and the text and everything. Sometimes people get, you know, this, when they see that, they think, okay, marketing campaign. They could skip that, so you should also try, at least for us this works, just an image with nothing on it except a suffering animal. It looks authentic, it looks like it's not an ad campaign so much. Or, you know, you could have images with text on them, and then what's usually good is to have, you know, very clear CTA, call to action, and urgency. Like it could say on the photo, I don't know, 2 days remaining, or 9 donors remaining until the goal, or something like this. Or you could also have social proof. That's also good to have. Join, you know, 205 people who already donated. These are things that it's good to have. What doesn't work is pretty photos of animals, like an ad, something like donate so that all cows can be as happy as this happy cow in a field. That doesn't motivate people to add because they don't see a problem. They see a happy cow in a field, nothing wrong there. I mean, maybe other cows are suffering somewhere, but I'm not needed here apparently. This cow is fine. It doesn't work so well like if you don't have time pressure, if you don't have urgency, if you don't have a deadline. And it for sure does not work well when you put the organization at the center of your communication, when you're talking about we work to do this, help us do this, help us help animals. What works is when you talk about the user, the person. You have to talk about why you specifically, dear user who is reading right now, you are needed to help this animal right here, right now. And your donation specifically is the one that will make the difference. That is the type of communication that works because it puts responsibility on the user and not on you as an organization. And then the user is, I don't know, a sidekick who is helping you a bit at best. These are some examples for ads. The first two are ours. You have, the calf, it's a close-up. It doesn't look like it's very happy at all. You have the eye, it's looking at you in the camera, and the text says, please release me, time is running out. So, yeah, I think this time is running out bit works for two reasons. Probably the first time that people see it, they think the time for this calf is running out, like it could die soon or something like that. Then they click the link, they see it's actually, well, it's a fundraiser, and now the days are running out, there's just a few days left. I don't know. It's good this way. The reason that we wrote it so generically is because the thinking was if you write 5 days remaining and then you want to run this ad for 5 days until the campaign ends, you can't do that because the person clicks it, you see, oh, actually it's just 1 day remaining, what the fuck? But then you can't be changing the ad every day to 4 days remaining, 3 days remaining, 2 days remaining, because if you constantly are changing the creative, you're resetting the learning of Meta, and it's starting to optimize from zero again. This is another ad that worked for us, like this type of clean photo that I mentioned, just trying to look more authentic. And this is an example from Nachtamatut Lomat, where, can you say what it said here? I forgot. Okay, only now your recurring donation will be doubled. Here you've got the deadline, 31st of December, and obviously the image is very strong. Obviously, one hen suffering a lot, does not look good, needs your help right now. These are other examples. This is from Albert Schweitzer Stiftung in Germany. Apparently they again use this approach with the clean photo, authentic photo. This example is from Anima in Norway. And it's a video with no text on it. It's just a video of a calf, a newborn calf being thrown into a cage. Also worked well. And this is from Lithuania, and I think it says, you can be a hero for him, join the defenders of laws for animals. And then you have a progress bar. Progress bars are also very good because it, especially around this part, where it's around 60 to 80% full, people very much like to finish the job. And underneath here it says, join 507 people who already donated, so you have the social proof element as well. All right. And lastly, in terms of campaign structure, how you want to do it. You want to have your campaign, you want it to be a conversions objective. You don't want it to optimize for engagement, you don't want it to optimize for traffic, you want to optimize for conversions. The only exception to this could be if you really don't have a lot of money, or I guess that's the only thing, optimize for traffic, because one conversion costs a lot. It could cost 40, 50, 100 euros. And if that's all the budget that you have, then Meta will not be able to learn anything. because it will not have enough optimization events. Like the entire budget will be spent by the time one person donates. That's not information for it to optimize who to target. But you should really consider spending a lot more than 100 euros if you want to see good results. Then under the campaign you have your ad sets. They can be 3 to 5 ad sets is good, where you have your different audiences. Maybe you have one ad set who is your single donors and your monthly donors that you're targeting. Another ad set is your petition signers, and a third ad set is usually also good to have to test without giving any criteria, just very broad audience, allowing Meta to show it to whoever it thinks might donate. That usually works quite well, especially for lead generation campaigns. But yeah, for fundraising campaigns, I don't think it works that well because, again, it's not enough optimization events. For lead generation, which means petitions, one signature could cost like 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents. So Meta will get a lot of optimization events and very quickly will learn what type of people sign. So then it works quite well to have a very broad audience. And yeah, but again, if your budget is limited, don't create too many ad sets because then it'll be spread very thinly between the ad sets, and none of the ad sets will get enough money to be able to learn fast enough before your end of year fundraising campaign ends. And you don't want the ad sets to be in the learning phase for 2 weeks when you have just a month of a fundraising campaign. And then in each ad set, have a lot of different ads. You should be approaching this from the perspective that you don't know what type of ad will make people donate. So you should try cast a wide net. Think about it that way. Cast a wide net. Try very different things, like you're shooting in the dark, basically. Okay, so you'll try a clean photo with a calf, with an animal that is suffering a lot. A photo with a lot of urgency and a lot of social proof. Another thing which is just a video. Another thing which is, I don't know, something completely different. Cast a wide net. Have very different ads in your ad sets. And then know what you are testing. You know what you are trying to find out that works or doesn't work. It doesn't work if you're trying to test, I don't know, what color of the text works better. If blue or yellow makes people donate more, and then you have, I don't know, 5 versions of the same ad where just the text has a different color, this does not make sense to test because it will create too small of a difference. It's not anything significant. It'll just be a waste of money and time. And I thought this might be interesting. This is from our end-of-year fundraising campaign last year, which is how many donations there were for each day. More or less, you could see at the beginning it's less, and then the closer we get to Christmas, people start donating more, and then had a bit of a drop, but then the closer we got to the deadline, which was December 31st, people were donating more. And then we moved the deadline to January 3rd because more people wanted to donate. And again, we had a huge spike just before the end of the deadline. And that is it from me, unless you have questions.
OMG, you are like so efficient, like as efficient as your ads. We have so much time for questions and it's so good. So I will ask every one of you, if you have a question, ask it in the app and upvote it. And in the meantime, please raise your hand if you are actively running ads, like you personally in your group. Okay, few hands. So now, from those who raised the hand, who of you did like a regular donor fund advertisement? Yes, Camila? And that's it. Okay, so at least you are the brave one. Can you share your experience with all this, please? So people have time to upvote the questions.
So I was in the workshop last year, as you know. So I got a lot of kind of like these insights, and what happened with me is that I ran an ad for 3-4 days and it didn't work. I would pull them out. Mm-hmm. So I got scared to spend more money with something that wasn't giving me, my conversion rate was like $150 per donor, and my donor was giving €5. So
how many donors did you get before you stopped it?
One or two per ad. And so it was too much money. I spent like €800 at the end. But as I see yours, I thought, okay, then maybe I pulled them out too early because I was spending so much per conversion, and they were donating so little that my ROI would be like in 2.5 years. So it just didn't make sense for me anymore. So I would, that was like my experience. So I ran like 4 or 5.
Who were you targeting? How did you set up your targeting?
So the targeting was my audience, my normal audience, like women between 25 and 55. And I ran with the images and the same idea. I guess it was 4 or 5.
But so the criteria for the audience that you're targeting is people between 25 and 45?
Yes.
And what else? That's it?
Women.
And women.
And Latinas.
Okay, and this is this was the criteria?
Yes, I remember, yes.
Okay. So what I think happened with you is that you set a very broad audience, which was also a cold audience, people who have not seen your organization before, probably, in your entire country. No, just women who are between 25 and 45. Mm-hmm. Probably very few of them have seen your organization before. And at the same time, you did not spend enough money for there to be enough optimization events for Meta to learn, okay, from this very broad audience, what type of people donate. Mm-hmm. You know, with 2 people donating, that's barely any information for Meta to start learning. Usually it needs at least 10, 20, like it says it needs 50, but yeah.
50 conversions it needs.
Yeah, to exit the learning phase. Oh. But, you know, it gets better and better, even if it's in the learning phase, even if it's still learning. When it gets to 10 conversions, 20 conversions, then it starts really getting a lot better, and usually it's already quite efficient at that point, even if it's still technically in the learning phase. So that's the one thing. What you said, you should spend more to give it the opportunity to learn, and then the donations after that will be much cheaper. And you should, especially if you have a smaller budget, you should be targeting not such a wide audience, mm-hmm. not such a cold audience. You should have uploaded a list basically of your single donors, if you have a lot of those, like at least a few hundred, and told it to target those people or people who signed your petition. And you can narrow that down a bit more as well, like with the different groups of warm audiences that I said. Like you could say people who signed your petition, who also liked something on your social media within the past month, this is a way to narrow it down even more, to make sure that you're targeting even warmer audience. And then with those people, even if Meta has not learned yet, who among them is most likely to donate because it hadn't had enough optimization events, whoever it targets from that audience is a lot more likely to donate than just women between 25 and 45 in your country. Yeah,
that makes sense. But you really talked about like having a lot of money, and smaller organizations like mine, it's just so hard to get anything. So we're like guess I'm representing the smaller ones. Like we're so afraid of wasting. Like I wasted €800 that took me a lot to get. So I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. Right? So I'm seeing you saying, just put more money, and I get only more afraid because it costs me so much.
You put €800 into it?
Yeah.
800?
In total, 800. In total, and I lost all of that money. It's just wasted in the garbage.
And you got no donors from that?
I got like 1 or 2 from different ads that I pulled out, and I put a new one, and then I pulled it out. And then what really worked was sending WhatsApps to like friends and family, and then they just join. And
But that's again the same principle. You know, friends and family are right here, there before your monthly donors. Like if your mother does not want to donate to your organization, you have a problem.
True. So yeah, I just wanted to I'll ask a question now that I have the. Thank you so much, Jiri.
There's a ranking of questions.
No, it's just one. It's just one. So you talked about the testing period, right, before. So then how long would it be enough for you to decide whether the ad worked or not if you want to keep investing in that ad?
Well, how long depends on, like, you should think of it in terms of optimization events rather than time.
Yeah.
But so, if it depends on how you tell Meta to spend your budget. Like, you could give it discretion to decide within this ad set. You leave Meta to decide how much budget to spend for each ad. So then you're not really testing so much. Like, if you really want to test, then you should set it to the same budget for each ad. Give it some time and see in the end, okay, this ad made 10 donors, this ad made 3, this ad made none, and they all spent the same amount of money. So that's, a very good test. But usually, to be honest, what I do is I let Meta optimize the budget itself, and somehow it decides in time, usually very quickly, and starts putting most of the money in 1 or 2 ads, even if I have 10. I think it starts doing that within the first few donations.
So, thank you. Thank you very much. Now we have a fear in the room. That is a scary thing, a fog of nervousness that paralyzes us. I will read it to you. You are the best man to answer that, hopefully.
Should I sit down?
In EU, it will not be possible to do special ads, category ads anymore from October. What are your thoughts on that? And there is a second question, which is super related. What will we all do when the regulation changes after the 2nd or 11th of October?
So, I think there's a chance that we will continue to be able to make these ads. I mean, there is a chance that that Meta is bluffing to make the European Commission move back on the regulation that it implemented. It could be that Meta is not bluffing and it will go through with it, but maybe in a few months it will decide, what, we actually want this money, and they will re-enable this this function. I think the targeting will be less efficient with the new regulation that the EU accepted for like social issues ads. But that just means that makes it even more important for you to be smarter about how you do your ads to get good results. However, I think it will also be possible to go around this this regulation, because right now, for example, we are running a fundraising campaign in Meta ads, and we just censored it. We just removed any mention of the word MP, parliament, ban, law, or whatever. Anything that could be political or something is just help the animals, donate. Nothing political about this. And it worked. It was not flagged. It's been running for a week now. Usually, like this has happened before, where we don't declare something as political, and then within a few days, someone notices and reports us, and it becomes flagged. But then, yeah, we had some political word in it. So you could also try that and try to avoid being classified as social issues ads.
I think the people best capable of solving all this is you folks, actually, right? We need those ads, we need to get the content to the users, so we are best suited to find out solutions. One of the things why the year-end support group, why the gig stuff works well, is that when someone finds a solution, we make sure that it's replicated. We make sure that people know it's known. And we try try to give people the bravery to, just to do it on themselves and test it out themselves. Thank you for that answer. Did it give us a bit of hope? Will the world still continue after October 11th? Yes, 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 good. So let's go back from the fears to the technicals. How do I set a budget? What is the right amount? How's the mechanism for setting up the budget?
So you can set, there's a lot of things that you can do with your budget. You can set a daily budget, you can set a lifetime budget, like if you said that the campaign will be running from now until 3 weeks from now, you could say spend in total 1,000 euros in that time, or it could be a daily budget, spend 50 euros per day. It is good when setting your budget. It's good to keep in mind that monthly donors can be expensive. It can cost 40, 50, 100 euros to get a monthly donor, so you need to spend a lot more than that if you want the ads to work. Like I said, depending on how good you've set up your targeting, it will be more or less important that Meta gets a lot of optimization events, which means a lot of people donate from your ad, so that Meta can learn while running this campaign what type of people donate and start, and for the ad campaign to really start working, and for the donations to start getting cheaper. So be ready to spend, I don't know, 1,000 euros on a campaign that you have set up well. It's targeting the warm audiences, having good content, a few different types of ads. You've done these things that you should do, and then you let go and you trust the Meta gods, and you spend, I would say maybe 1,000 euros is a good number. Like if you have spent already 100, 200 euros and not a single donor has come, or 250 euros, not a single donor has come, I would maybe consider pausing it at that point and checking if you have really done everything correctly.
Stefan, how much money do you want to burn this year with all that, with your fundraising campaign?
On ads, probably 2,000 euros.
Why is that not 4,000?
It could be 4,000.
How will
what?
you
It'll
know?
be 4,000.
Okay, so why is that not 8,000?
The only limit that you can hit is the audience, the size of your audience. Like we have, to be honest, probably we could spend 8,000 because we have like 100,000 people who signed our petition. So that's a lot of people on Facebook that you can be targeting. So yeah, it's a very big warm audience that we can target with that much money. And then, like if people from cold audiences are also cheap donations, then you should also spend a lot of money there. So you try it.
If everything goes well, you do 16,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so where's the limit?
Well, the limit is when it starts getting too expensive. Like that's why I said tracking is so important. Yeah, doesn't matter. That's why I said tracking is so important. You need to be following, as the ad campaign is going, how much you're paying for a single monthly donor. And if that starts getting too expensive, if like at some point you stop getting a return on the investment, or it's like, I don't know, you invest 50 euros and you get 50 euros back, then okay, that's too much. Reduce the budget. There's also like a limited number of people that Meta can show your ad to per day, but that limit is pretty high. Like we have had ads which had 250 euros daily budget. So
thank you very much. I will look forward for your budget next year and how big you can make it. Another question, in a fundraising campaign, when is the best time to start ads? And for our context, I guess, let's use the year-end fundraising campaign. When is the best time to start ads?
Immediately.
Explain, please.
So with the end of your fundraising campaign, the way you want to do it is, again, following this logic about starting from the warmest audience and then going out to the colder ones. So usually what is good to do when you start your end of your fundraising campaign is call your mom to donate, and then call your dad, and then call your brother or sister, so that you have the first few donors, so that it doesn't look empty when your supporters go in. And then have all of your volunteers and employees do the same. So you have, I don't know, 10, 12 donors to begin with. Then you immediately start the ads to the warmest audiences. to reach them quite quickly, so that they also, do the initial donations, and it starts getting an even bigger number. And then you start reaching out through email marketing in parallel to the same audiences, to your donors, to your petition signers on the first day, then maybe on the second day, the third day, you widen and widen and widen until you start reaching the colder and colder audiences. But usually this thing is good. Start with the warmest ones so that the page is not empty, so that you have the social proof. The social proof element is important because the colder the audience is, the more motivation like this they will need to take action. Like these people here, they don't need a lot of motivation to take action. They will go in, they will see 0 people donated, 5 years deadline left to donate, and they will donate right now because they love animals. But for these people, it needs to be, already everyone in the country donated. Are you the last one who has not donated? Come on, you have 2 minutes remaining. They're like, okay, I'll think about it.
All right, thank you. Now the audience wants to really challenge you. How would you create ads for a regular giving for a plant-based organization? No distressed animals, less time pressure.
The time pressure can always be there. It doesn't relate to whether it's plant-based or whatever it is. The time pressure it's a lot. Well, it's not a lie. It's you create it. You create it. You decide it's going to be an end-of-year fundraising campaign. That means it ends at the end of the year. So there's time until December 31st to donate for this end-of-year fundraising campaign. So that is a fact. That is a deadline. So you decide, you create these things. You're allowed to set deadlines for people. So you can also use the social proof element. And then, I don't know, I haven't run ads for plant-based, but I would assume what would work is animals, because animals are cute. What happened? Good photos of food, and did it work?
Hi, I ran ads for plant-based, and good photos of food work. That's all I had to say.
How much did you pay per donor?
No, we didn't have donors. We did like a challenge, but it's like go plant-based, become plant-based, and then people have to sign up, and they can become donors, but we don't push it because we would prefer them to go vegan. And yeah, what worked the best for ads, we did traffic ads and conversion ads and lead ads. It's always good photos of food. So if that's
that led to the cheapest signups.
Yes.
Did you try? What other things did you try except for photos of food? Photos of animals?
Oh yeah, loads of stuff, and like for like environmental.
Happy animals or sad animals?
Yes. We did both, and both did equally bad. So the photos of food really outperformed everything else. We also did like environment and just like happy people being together, like because it's like a support group and stuff like that. And it's always like people were always the most attracted to like just food.
Great.
Yeah.
This is why you test. This is why you test very, very different things. But also, I will take the opportunity to challenge you about the idea that people can either go vegan or donate to you. Both things help. Like usually people who donate to animal organizations and then they volunteer maybe, or they do, like the more things they do, including donating, that's a big thing, the more they are signaling to themselves and to the people around them that they are someone who cares about animals, who cares about whatever it is that they are donating for or volunteering for. That builds their identity around this more and more, which makes it more likely for them to go vegan as well. So
thank you. Now let's go a bit back to the magic Meta algorithms. Will Meta not learn anything from prior ads for the organization?
Meta does not learn anything from prior ads. And it's very annoying that if you make even a small adjustment to the ad or to the ad set settings or to the campaign settings, it resets the learning and starts learning from scratch. So you should be very reluctant to edit. You should double check that everything is done correctly before you hit publish and the ads start. Because if, I don't know, a week passes and then you realize, oh, you know, actually this should have been a bit different, and then you edit it, and then the learning that the campaign did for that week gets deleted, basically, and it starts learning from scratch. So what you can use from previous ads to improve the results of future ads is making lists of your warm audiences. You know, when people donate, when they sign your petitions, because of ads or because of whatever happened, this is information that you can give to Meta and put it in the targeting, and then that's a bit of cheating, you know. And instead of, when you tell Meta to target people who already donated in the past, Meta doesn't need to get so many optimization events to show it to the right people, because most of these people are already the right people. That's why warm audiences are the best.
Cool. Now, and I like this one because this one seems to be hard to test, hard to prove, and it's in the realm of myths. I heard that spending a lot on ads will screw up the organic reach of your non-paid content. What do you think?
I have no idea. This is a myth that is circulating in our organization as well. I don't know if it's true. To be honest, I don't think we've ever had good reach on Facebook, but we've also very often been running ads there. But we've also always had extremely good reach on Instagram, which is also Meta. So I have no idea.
Okay, who has opinions on this matter? Will ads ruin your organic reach?
Hi, it's me again. So we had some experiences on having lower organic reach after running an ad somewhere where we didn't run it ever before. So I do multiple different things, not just for this organization, but for other organizations as well, concerning ads. And in one instance, we had an Instagram page that never ran an ad, and then we did run an ad for an event that was supposed to be about it, just so people would show up. And after that, our organic reach just dropped for like 3 weeks or a month, and then it went back up, because it's like Meta wanted us to give them more money. That's how we saw it. So that did happen personally to me once, but that's like anecdotal. I can't say like it's a fact and it will happen every time, because on other pages we do ads constantly, and I don't see that happening. But this was a single occurrence with a page that never had any ads except for that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't decide not to run ads because of this. Ads are extremely, extremely good. And what I think is more important for organic reach is your algorithm rating. That is a real thing. That is confirmed by Meta. When you post good posts and they get more organic reach than usual for your page, in time, Meta increases your rating and starts showing your next organic post to more people. And then if you keep engaging more people than usual, that increases your rating even more. So just get good content and you will be rewarded.
Stefan, is there any resource, anything I can click on to learn?
Oh, that's
what a coincidence.
Nice that you mention it. You know, actually, now that you mention it, there is. Oh, would you look at that? There's a resource. So, when you scan this QR code, you will reach a web page which talks about what I just talked about in more detail. And it also has links to other resources that go into more detail about the tracking, for example, or lists of more examples of organizations and the ads that they used. So open this and save this. and return to it and use it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for stepping up, being on the stage for so long, answering all those wonderful questions. I hope you folks had fun. The engagement and fundraising stream will continue with 2 more sessions. One, I need to personally share, I'm a bit afraid of, because it's about gig fucking up a bit. So if you want to see people fail, maybe join the next one.
This is who fucked up.
Yeah. Yes, yes, and then the highlight of the day will be Ola and her Write To session. Do you wanna plug the session a bit?
Right, so the next big thing is Write To pages, which is something we are just only starting to learn about more throughout last couple of years, and I've managed to gather some people who have experience using this new type of pages, where they engage people into sending emails to companies or to politicians or to make comments on social media for those companies. And it works well in cage-free and in Furban campaign and in all other types of campaigns. And it is quite new. I don't think we ever talked about it on Cur. So if you like new things and want to learn more about this kind of pages or how to mobilize people to take actions in your campaign, then come to the last session.
In short, take your campaigning friends with you. They need to hear that as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope it was fun, and have a good break.
Thank you.